We all desire success, but what path truly leads us there? If you could choose between a life of perfect comfort and a life filled with struggle and challenge, which would you choose? Today, a grandfather teaches his young grandson a profound lesson that answers this question. Once there lived a boy in a town. One day, he came to visit his grandfather during his summer holidays. He used to play with his grandpa all the time. One afternoon, he said to his grandpa, "Grandpa, when I grow up, I want to become a successful man. Can you tell me some ways to be successful?" The grandfather nodded yes, and took the boy with him to a nearby nursery. From the nursery, his grandpa bought 2 small plants. He planted one plant in a pot and kept it inside the house, and he planted the other plant outside in the open yard. He asked the boy, "What do you think? Which of these 2 plants will grow better in the future?" The boy kept thinking for some time and then said, "The plant inside the house will grow better because it is safe from every danger, while the plant outside is at risk of many things like strong sunlight, storms, rain, and animals." The grandfather smiled and simply said, "Let us see what happens in the future." After that, the boy left from there. After 4 years, the boy came to visit his grandfather again. When he saw his grandpa, he immediately asked him, "Grandpa, last time I asked you a question about how to be successful in life, but you didn't tell me anything. This time, you have to tell me." The grandfather smiled and said, "Sure, but first, let us take a look at the plants we bought a few years back." The grandfather took the boy to the place where he had planted the small plant in the pot. They saw that the plant had grown into a big plant, but it was frail. Then he took the boy to look at the plant they had planted outside. They saw that a big, giant tree had grown out of the small plant. Its branches spread far and wide, providing shade to passers-by. The grandfather looked at the boy and asked, "Tell me, which plant grew more? Which is more successful, and why?" The boy replied, "The one we planted outside." "But Grandpa, how is this possible? That plant must have faced so many dangers, yet it grew so big." The grandfather smiled and said, "Yes, the plant outside had to face many things, but dealing with those problems also had its benefits. The plant outside had the freedom to spread its roots as much as it wanted." He explained, "Problems like storms and heavy rain made its roots even stronger. Today, it is so strong that a small storm cannot cause any harm to it. The plant we planted inside remains small and is weak because it did not have to withstand the heavy storms, rain, and strong sunlight." The grandfather looked at his grandson. "My son, always remember that unless you struggle in life, unless you go through difficulties, you too will not be able to achieve success in your life. If you always make comfortable choices, you will not be able to grow as you can." He concluded, "But if you are ready to struggle and go through difficulties, then no goal is impossible for you to achieve. Therefore, never think of problems as hurdles, but think of them as stepping stones towards success." The boy took a long breath and started looking at the tree. The words of his grandfather were echoing in his mind. The obstacles we consider as enemies in our life are the same obstacles that make us stronger and more successful. If we look at our own lives, we often find that we have to face challenges and difficulties, due to which many times we get disappointed and lose the courage to move forward. But the story of the 2 plants teaches us not to be intimidated by challenges, but to embrace them as an opportunity to learn and grow. The plant outside had to face natural calamities, but this gave it the freedom to spread its roots, grow stronger, and thus transform into a strong and giant tree. The plant that was planted inside was saved from the dangers, but it remained small and weak. This teaches us that the more difficulties and challenges we face in our life, the more the path of success will open for us. When we face challenges, we have the opportunity to learn and grow stronger. We develop the resilience and determination that are essential to success. Of course, overcoming all challenges is not easy. There will be times when we feel defeated or discouraged, But it is important to remember that these are only temporary setbacks. If we learn from them and keep moving forward, we will eventually overcome any challenge that comes our way. If this story inspired you, share it with someone who's going through a tough time. Remind them that their storm is building strength. Subscribe to Wise Narratives for more powerful stories that teach timeless lessons about strength, purpose, and success.